We've seen sanctions slapped on 5 of Russia's biggest banks, including the biggest Sberbank, which will stop them from being able to sell bonds to European investors.
Those tough and hardcore sanctions placed on Russia by the European Union, so tight, so debilitating, President Vladimir Putin is being forced to live on roughly about $15,000 per week. And that's just one account we know about. Let's face it, we're not making a dent in punishing Putin for anything. It might even be driving him and other enemies into a tighter bond that will snap back and catch the world right in their assumptions of superiority. Let's welcome back to MidPoint. Author, our man on a suitcase who brings us reality from ground level without a lot of the political hackery, if you will. He's now returned to the United States in New York, Todd Wood. Todd, good to see you again.
Ed, good afternoon. Thanks for having me back.
Always a pleasure. Is it not fair to say, though, that a lot of what the EU is doing right now, it's not having much of a personal effect on Putin? He's getting by just fine in many ways. And aren't we trying to almost, well, not trying to, but it's happening. We're shoveling him into the arms of China. We're making a lot cozier relationships with a lot of people that we would prefer the Russians not get tighter with.
Well, that is true. He has been forced to the east, if you will. He signed several multi-hundred-billion-dollar gas deals with China. The thing to realize is, though, is China's in a very good position as far as leverage with Russia is concerned. Russia is not making much money on these deals. They're selling their gas on the cheap. So it's a marriage of convenience. I'm not sure how much they like each other, although there is some talk of military cooperation in the Pacific where they have shared goals, which that goal is to push the United States out of the American lake, if you will, in the Pacific and in support of our allies over there.
Shouldn't that, though, be a little bit more of our discussion, is that there is the potential, at least, for greater military cooperation? Now, I guess the next thing would be, would that be real, or is that just fluff? Because let's face it, we know that a lot of what Putin throws out there is just a lot of trash.
That is very true. He does say a lot of stuff. However, one thing he has said over and over recently, which I think the West needs to realize, he has said over and over that don't forget Russia has nuclear weapons. Their conventional forces are inferior in a lot of ways. I mean, they have some highly trained and equipped forces, which we've seen in Crimea and elsewhere, but he's relying on his nuclear force, and that is his trump card. And, you know, military cooperation with the Chinese, I still can't get my arms around the fact that they would really like each other and get in bed against the United States, if you will. But they will make a show of it to try to reduce American power projection in the Pacific.
Todd, can we just say, though, that the nuclear idea from Putin, isn't that just bluff more than anything else? Honestly, we've talked about this before, but the guy, quite frankly, can't be that stupid.
You know, my fear with Russia is that they're becoming irrational. I think he's being backed into a corner. He can't let the ruble devalue anymore. It's starting to really hurt the people that support him. He's got body bags coming back from Ukraine, hundreds of them, if not thousands. There was a term used in the Chechen wars of mothers' actions, where the mothers would actually go into the conflict zones and try to get their sons out because the government was not taking care of them. So you're seeing a lot of this reaction. My fear is that he's getting backed into a corner and he's becoming irrational, and especially the people around him in the defense establishment are becoming that way, and that to me is scary.
Less than 60 seconds left. You travel extensively throughout Europe. Do you get the sense at all that the Russian people themselves are in any way, shape, or form starting to turn against this guy?
I have seen some lowered poll numbers, not by much, but a few percentage points. And interestingly enough, I'm heading to Moscow shortly, and the request I got this time was, please bring some French cheese because we can't get it here. So the food ban on European goods is starting to really pinch the wealthy Muscovites, that's for sure.
Are we getting back into the 60s and 70s here? They're going to start asking you to bring sneakers?
Well, you know, they don't make a lot, but they make a lot of very good weapons. That's the one thing they can do very well, and they will try to export those as much as possible.
Here comes the black market again. We'll be selling T-shirts and sneakers and everything else, and they'll be asking for American college sweatshirts to be brought over here. There comes the next way to make money off Russia. It's still a scary time. Todd, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Be well. Talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me back. Take care.
All right, Todd Wood joins us. We'll break. We're back with Telling It Like It Is. And one word that could be used to describe our president, I absolutely guarantee that when you hear the one word that we're going to talk about here, there are some of you out there, no matter what side of the political fence you're on, you will see this as insulting. Some of you will say, how dare you? Others might use it as very long overdue and very fitting. That's coming up right here on MidPoint, where we question everything.